Okay, so one of the other questions that we get a lot from Queens home buyers is, why should I use just one agent? There's different schools of thought on this question and the answer to it, but we can give you at least our perspective on it and why we think it is important to work with just one agent. So there are buyers out there who, once they come into the market, they may have bought properties before, they may be a first-time buyer, but their inclination may be to just go directly to a listing agent because that's how they think maybe I'll get a better deal if I go straight through a listing agent. As a listing agent myself, I can tell you that that's definitely not the case. Especially with our team, if a buyer comes to us directly, we're very clear that we're working for the seller, and as a result, we won't do anything that hurts our client's best interest. So our job at that point is to have you to somehow justify and have you as a buyer pay the most money possible and give us the best terms for our seller. We're very clear with that, and any good listing agent will understand their fiduciary duty to their seller, and that as a result you would not get any representation or any benefit from their fiduciary duties. Their duties would be solely for their seller. So that approach is not necessarily the best approach for a buyer if you're looking for someone to look out for your best interest. Now, you can work with several agents also. You can just come into contact with agents at open houses or wherever you meet them. You can tell them what you're looking for and they'll send you listings, and then you'll have a bunch of different agents showing you a bunch of different properties. What we found in our experience is that that really is not the most efficient or effective way to finding a property. So if you're a home buyer or potential home buyer, you probably already know how many properties are out there. Now, if you go around and tell your basic criteria to a bunch of different agents, what ends up happening is that you end up getting flooded with listing alerts with a bunch of different properties, a lot of which don't meet all of your criteria. And so a lot of times what we've seen with buyers like this is you may end up seeing a lot of properties, a lot more than you really need to. And you don't want to have to end up seeing all the properties that are on the market just to find the one that you're actually looking for, or to find out that you ended up losing out on a good one because there was so many listings that you were going out to see. So why should you work with one agent? The simple answer to that is because you want to have one agent who's an expert, who's specializes in working with buyers, because there's listing agents and buyer agents. Now, ideally, you would want to have an agent who works with a lot of buyers because they understand how to find out exactly what you're looking for and then how to locate those properties and negotiate on your behalf. So to work with one agent is in your best interest because they also learn your patterns and exactly what you're looking for. So as opposed to going out and seeing a bunch of different properties with a bunch of different agents and repeating yourself constantly, if you sit down with one agent at the beginning and have a buyer consultation, you talk through all of your ideas, you let them know exactly what you're looking for, your must-haves, your wish list items, your areas, the neighborhoods that you prefer, school districts, all different amenities and features of a house that are important to you. What happens is that you arm that agent, that one agent, with all of the information that they need in order to go out and now find you the property that you're looking for. Okay, so ideally, if you get a good buyer agent and you tell them, you sit down with them for an hour, hour and a half, and talk through all of the criteria and information that you would like to give over for them to know about the property that you want to buy, then now that agent will be able to go out and ideally narrow down all those hundreds and thousands of properties to try to find you the properties that will actually be a good fit for you. This saves you time. This also lets you, as you're viewing properties with your one agent, now that agent can start to learn about your feedback for each property. As you're viewing properties, they're learning more and more about what's important to you. If your criteria changes, then they'll be knowing that and they'll be learning about that as they're showing properties to you. So this usually, in our opinion, is the most effective way of house hunting. And then on top of that, you get an agent who is actually working for you and in your best interest. So when it comes time to make that offer, they'll be able to share comps with you. They'll be able to help you determine the best offer price. They'll be able to give you their opinion on the actual value of the property to make sure that you don't end up overpaying or anything like that. A good buyer agent can do due diligence for you also, CO searches, look up any violations, any liens on a property. So there's a lot of benefits to working with just one agent. I think what happens is that a lot of home buyers are afraid of that commitment to one agent. But what you should want to do, what our advice would be, is even if you do a shorter agreement, what you want to do is have a buyer-broker agreement. You want to have a loyalty between you, from you to your agent, and have the same loyalty from your agent to you, so that you know together you're working collectively to find you the best property for you and your family. So why should you work with one agent? In our opinion, it's just the most efficient and effective way of finding the right property. Otherwise, you can end up spinning your wheels, wasting a lot of time, and seeing a lot of properties that aren't necessary for you. And worst of all, if you don't work with just one agent that represents your best interest, then you can very well end up in a situation where you're working with an agent who is representing the seller and their best interest, and you end up on your own, just sort of fending for yourself in terms of any information, due diligence, and things like that. Okay, hope that answers your question. If you have any questions regarding why you should work with one agent, or if you would like to schedule a buyer consultation with one of our team members, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Okay, thanks.